All right, we're calling the hearing back into session. This is our second panel, panel 1B. We will focus on sanctuary in real time, community testimony on fear, trust, and protection. This panel is going to help us clarify how sanctuary policies are experienced on the ground by impacted individuals, families, and communities, witnesses, as well as advocates. We're going to touch on existing gaps, including the loss of trust, constitutional concerns, and the ramifications of higher law enforcement visibility within our communities. Each panelist will have 5 minutes to present their remarks. We really want to emphasize that. The timekeeper is over there, so please keep an eye there so that we can have time for questions, as we would like this to be as interactive as possible. Our panelists are going to include Brian Gavidia, an entrepreneur. There he is, sitting right there. Brendan Busey, SJ, pastor of Dolores Mission Parish. Angel Novello, an outreach coordinator for Comunidades Indígenas en Liderazgo. And we also have Aristotle Molitsas, the vice president of Frontline Relief Foundation. We are also going to have 2 other witnesses, Mary and another anonymous witness. They will testify behind screen for protection of their identity, but obviously they'll be providing us also with important information. So we will begin let's begin with Father Brendan Busey.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
The mic's not working?
Danny.
There you go.
It's on. It sounds like it's on. Yeah.
No.
Oh, now we go. Now we got it.
All right, great.
Good afternoon. My name is Father Brendan Busey. I'm the pastor of Dolores Mission Catholic Church in Boyle Heights. I'm a clergy leader with LA Voice, local federation of Pico, California, the largest interfaith community organizing network in the state of California. I'm also a board member for Proyecto Pastoral. I'm a Jesuit Catholic priest, and all of the pastoral ministry and community organizing work that I do is grounded in the wisdom of Jesuit Ignatian spirituality. At Dolores Mission, we have a long history of doing the work of bringing people together, welcoming them, keeping them safe, while also organizing and leading community-based responses to the challenges facing our families and friends. We're the birthplace of Homeboy Industries, the largest gang rehabilitation and reentry program in the world, Proyecto Pastoral, who founded, organized, and leads the Boyle Heights Immigrants' Rights Network, which has coordinated the rapid response efforts protecting our community since the most recent wave of cruel and chaotic immigration enforcement began in early June. Our church is also a shelter. For more than 40 years, men and women have slept inside of our church every night at Proyecto Pastoral's Guadalupe Homeless Project, housing refugees and migrants and others in need of emergency shelter. That is to say, we know something of what it means to be a sanctuary. I find that conversations around immigration law and policy often seem to believe the lie that immigration enforcement has something to do with public safety. Catholic social teaching affirms a nation's right and responsibility to administer their borders, but administration is different than enforcement. For nearly half a century, we at Dolores Mission have been working with local community leaders to provide hospitality and keep our community safe. We're a safe place that makes our wider community a safer place. We know that all who come to our doors and who live and work in our neighborhoods, even those who may act out or even break laws, those who cause harm, don't need any more punishment than they've already suffered. They need hope and healing. I've never really met anyone in need of more enforcement, but nearly everyone I meet could use some more encouragement. Administration of borders suggests a responsibility to provide hospitality, a moral imperative to offer sanctuary through works of mercy, feeding, clothing, and sheltering. Enforcement, it seems, is only understood as an invitation to cruelty. We know that safety and sanctuary go together, but more than that, we know that sanctuary is not merely a policy. Sanctuary is a place and a work of a people, a lived practice of accompaniment, presence, and the protection of everyone's dignity, even especially in moments of fear and in places of persecution, where families have been made to feel unsafe in their own neighborhoods and homes. I'm here today because the integrity of all of our social relationships, our institutions and structures, our moral integrity as human beings has been deeply harmed. I was present at the Ambiance raid in the Fashion District on June 6th that kicked off the terror campaign and assault on our city that we saw throughout last summer. A campaign that, as we know, moved to several other cities and culminated in the federal government and their so-called law enforcement agencies terrorizing entire communities and murdering American citizens, exercising their constitutional rights, defending those of their neighbors and friends. I've stood with parishioners and community members as their families have been terrorized and torn apart. I've stood on streets with rapid responders, local law enforcement, other community leaders in the aftermath of reckless behavior on part of federal agencies, witnessing smashed cars in our city streets, drawing weapons on unarmed mothers and their children, using military-grade flash grenades and tear gas canisters to execute simple traffic stops. I have a small collection of those canisters in my office at this point. The list goes on and on. Nearly everyone I know has expressed deep sadness and frustration at the abuses they have seen by an unhinged federal agency set loose on their neighbors and friends. They know that what we are here to affirm is true, that this behavior is worse than incompetence. It's state-sponsored terrorism, cruelty, and violence. It's the kind of behavior we cannot support or defend. It was a year ago, on June 6th, that we were celebrating our 8th grade graduation at Dolores Mission, and at the end of that graduation, as I was folding up folding chairs, when I got the news about the raid at the Ambiance. One memory that sticks with me from that raid was standing arm in arm, locking arms together, standing between family members, lawyers, community members, legal aid, that were there to represent and to advocate for the people inside. One of those daughters was just behind us, and an agent from inside the property reached through us, locked arms together, volunteers, to try to pull her into the property as well. It was a terrifying moment with FBI soldiers and their assault rifles pointed in our face, with tear gas thrown in crowds and several flash grenades thrown at the crowd as they drove away, leaving with clear passage out of the neighborhood. It's a terrible memory, but there are many, many like them, as we've heard today. People who have been afraid to go to work, people afraid to worship, to live their daily lives, and now those places have been made unsafe for them in ways that we've heard a million times over. We know and affirm that to be a city or to be a nation that is safe is not to be one without immigrants, but to be rather one where people are welcome, supported by people and communities and institutions that they can trust. You mentioned the betrayal of trust that's happened, and I hope that greater transparency and the accountability that hearings like this might bring will continue to repair that harm. I know that trust is hard to rebuild once it's been broken, and I know that sanctuary policies have helped. But the truth is, I think no policy will succeed until we become a sanctuary people. Our humanity must be greater than our nationality. And that trust that has been broken is hard to rebuild, but I'm here to say today that work is worthy of us.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
Mr. Gavidia, you're next. And again, I just ask all speakers to keep your eye on the clock over there.
Hello, my name is Brian Gavidia. I'm a proud plaintiff with the ACLU. So on June 12th, I was in my place of business, just operating business as normal. And an ICE agent showed up outside of my place of business. I was told by one of my colleagues that potentially there was an ICE agent outside. I stepped outside to go take a look to see if it was actually true. And as I stepped outside, I was racial profiled. You know, I was grabbed, I was manipulated, I was thrown. And to be honest with you, what's going down right now in America, in the United States, is so sad. You know, we all have constitutional rights. America or not, we're protected by the Constitution. So what we need to do right now is stand together and fight together and stand strong. And you know what? We have to unite. There's no black or white, brown, no. We are one people, and you know what? American or not, we're all Americans, and we're proud Americans. And thank you for having us here today. Yeah.
Thank you.
So one thing I guess I would say is thank you to the ACLU, thank you to other leaders that we have here today that are standing with us, because without that we wouldn't have a voice. Without that we would be, just another story lost in the winds. So thank you guys for allowing us to, say what we really have to say, and let's keep fighting. I'm here with you guys. It's not right what happened to me, but it's not right what's happened to any of the people that's going down right now. So let's stand together, guys, and let's make this happen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Gavidia. Mr. Novello?
Yo les voy a pedir un favor, si pudieran cerrar los ojos, por favor, unos segundos. Quiero que se imaginen ahora mismo que ustedes van para el trabajo y de repente hay una camioneta que se bajan muchas personas con máscara y se los llevan. Quiero que imaginen que van a la tienda y antes de bajar del carro tienes que mirar a los dos lados para mirar si no hay alguien esperando por ti para secuestrarte. Quiero que imaginen que vienen a un país donde las leyes son hermosas porque hay una constitución que nos protege. Ahora quiero que imaginen que ya nadie respeta esa constitución, especialmente las fuerzas de la ley. Ahora abran los ojos, por favor, y dejemos de imaginarnos porque todo esto está pasando ahora mismo. Las heridas de los secuestros de hace un año todavía siguen aquí. Las heridas que todavía están abiertas, porque después de un año mucha gente no puede poner comida en sus mesas, mucha gente todavía no puede pagar su renta, mucha gente todavía tiene que batallar para llevar a sus hijos a la escuela porque tienen miedo de salir. No es algo de un año atrás, es algo que es reciente para nosotros. No hay cicatrices todavía porque las heridas están abiertas. En el condado de Los Ángeles albergamos decenas de miles de migrantes indígenas provenientes de México y Centroamérica, mixtecos, zapotecos, mayas, purépechas, triquis y otros. Las redadas que han pasado generan un efecto de terror colectivo. Muchas familias dejan de asistir a citas médicas, reuniones escolares, iglesias, mercados, programas comunitarios por miedo a ser detenidos. Organizaciones indígenas en California reportan que el temor continúa mucho después que terminan los operativos. En 2025, redes de respuesta rápida registraron al menos 471 acciones de aplicación migratoria en vecindarios predominantemente latinos, también indígenas. ¿Cómo se rompe la confianza de la comunidad? Nos prometieron una ciudad santuario, ¿verdad? Es muy bonito en la teoría, pero en la práctica vemos que las leyes ya no nos aplican para nosotros como ciudad santuario. Las fuerzas del orden nos atacan en protestas pacíficas. Caminan los vecindarios con trajes antibalas, con ametralladoras para intimidar a lo que son los pueblos, que tienen un morral y una mochila para ir al trabajo. Entonces, lo máximo que van a encontrar en las bolsas de estas personas es un burrito para ir a comer en su lunch en el trabajo. Desgraciadamente, Ciudad Santuario es de 2024 y la ley supuestamente limita la cooperación local y con las redadas federales, pero no se distingue mucho la diferencia entre las fuerzas federales y las estatales ni las locales. Las consecuencias son graves: menos denuncia de delitos, menos reportes de violencia doméstica, menor cooperación con investigaciones policiales, mayor aislamiento de las víctimas. Eso todo está pasando ahora después de las redadas. Nadie confía en las fuerzas de la ley. Eso demuestra un efecto paralizante que debilita la seguridad pública para todos. Este impacto específico en los pueblos indígenas, para los migrantes indígenas el daño es aún mayor. Muchos hablan diferentes lenguas, como las ya mencionadas, unas otras lenguas indígenas, menos español o inglés. Existe dificultad para comprender sus derechos durante detenciones, interrogatorios. Hay menos acceso a información confiable en sus idiomas. El miedo se multiplica cuando no pueden comunicarse con abogados o autoridades. El mensaje es clave. Las redadas no solamente detienen personas, detienen la confianza. Cuando una madre tiene miedo de llevar a su hijo al médico, cuando una víctima tiene miedo de llamar a la policía, o cuando un trabajador deja de salir a ganarse la vida por temor a ser detenido, toda la comunidad resulta afectada. Para los pueblos indígenas migrantes que además enfrentan barreras lingüísticas y culturales, el impacto es aún más profundo. Una ciudad puede declararse santuario, pero mientras las familias sigan viviendo con miedo, el santuario sigue siendo una promesa incompleta. Muchísimas gracias.
Mr. Litzas, please proceed.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. My name is Aristotle Melitsas, and I am Vice President of Frontline Relief Foundation. I am also a guardsman in the California Guard. So what initially brought me to Altadena was my involvement with the Eaton Fire as a guardsman. And through my work, I've grown extremely fond of the Altadena community, much of which is immigrants. What I have seen firsthand as a guardsman has been that degradation of trust between the community and its institutions. So me personally, when we were called on, because my unit was called on to participate in the LA ICE raids, I felt a deep betrayal between my values and the commitment that I made to the state, and that hurt me deeply. I saw firsthand on the internet, I saw people that I bled with, that I've sacrificed so much for, on the news for stuff they did not raise their hand for. And then being in the line of work that I'm in now, working in Altadena with families that were affected by the fires, I was forced to confront firsthand that degradation created by the institution that I've given up so much for. What I have seen on ground is people who are scared to receive aid, especially during the ICE raids. We saw a sharp decline in people coming to our donation drive, where we've given essentials. All in all, what we're seeing is if this kind of safety is what they're saying it is, if safety by their definition is people scared to leave their house to receive food, water, and medical aid, we've lost the plot completely. So when I see the news and I see that we're spending north of $100 million to create fear and chaos, and that's me and that's my friends and my people, that it doesn't sit right with me. That's ridiculous. So that's what I got.
Thank you.
We now have Mary, who will testify from behind the screen, I believe.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Mari. Yo soy de Koreatown, originaria de México. El 11 de junio del año pasado fue detenido mi esposo en su trabajo. Estaba terminando un carro, él trabaja en un car wash. Estaba terminando un carro cuando llegaron los encapuchados. Me lo tumbaron, le pusieron el pie en su cachete. No se le llama a detención donde él está. Él no fue, no se puede decir arrestado, él fue, no sé cómo decirlo, kidnap. Él fue kidnap de su trabajo, secuestrado, perdón. Él fue secuestrado de su trabajo. Una persona que no tiene récord criminal, era solo de su trabajo a su casa. Él era él era mi todo. Él se preocupaba por mi salud, por mis citas al doctor. Él era mi soporte en 100% de renta, carro. Yo trabajaba solo para la aseguranza y para mis necesidades. Hoy estoy tocando puertas para ver dónde agarro ayuda. Él está en una detención que no es detención, está junto con prisioneros. A él lo trajeron, cuando él lo arrestaron, él trabajaba en Whittier, California. Cuando lo arrestaron, lo llevaron a Santana. De Santana se lo llevaron a Miami. De Miami a Nueva York. De New York a Texas. Y de Texas ahorita está en Nuevo México. Él ha pasado hambre. Se desmayó un día y el guardia le dijo, levántate como puedas, si quieres. Ha pasado que solamente toda una semana pan con mayonesa y bolonia. agua de la llave, que tiene residuos de algo blanco, como mucha sal. Todo eso causa enfermedades. Ha habido gente que se ha enfermado demasiado. Estamos en un país que cuando yo vine aquí era un país free America, libre, o sea, un país libre. ¿Dónde quedó ese país? ¿Dónde quedó que Estados Unidos era un país libre? ¿Dónde quedó esa constitución? Yo me pregunto. Entonces yo digo, mi esposo no es criminal, no es vandalismo, no tenía ni lo que se dice, nada de récord, nada de mancha. Era una persona trabajadora hasta ahorita, porque ahí trabaja ahorita en la cocina. ¿Dónde quedó eso? ¿Por qué tanta violencia, tanto racismo en estos momentos? ¿Dónde quedó ese país bonito, hermoso, que era libre, América? Ahorita ya no sé ni dónde tocar puertas porque, es más, gracias a Chirla me ayudó a pagar el depósito, porque si no, él ya no estuviéramos esperando a ver si tenemos la oportunidad de que yo le pueda arreglar su situación. Yo soy miembro de Chirla y gracias a Chirla estoy en espera para que mi esposo pueda quedar libre. Pero yo me pregunto, ¿dónde está esa constitución? ¿Dónde está ese bonito América? ¿Dónde está Estados Unidos libre? Yo necesito a mi esposo para atrás. ¿Qué más les puedo decir? Yo necesito a mi esposo porque él era todo mi soporte. Él era el que mi doctor, me llevaba al doctor, me llevaba a mis citas. Él era todo para mí. Yo pido que América regrese a ser libre América. Estados Unidos, un free country. Gracias.
Gracias. Gracias, Amari. Ahora tenemos otro testigo. Oh, I'm sorry. Now we'll have another witness who is anonymous who will speak from behind the curtain. That person is not sharing a name.
También fui detenido también por ICE. A mí me detuvieron en un Home Depot aproximadamente ahorita hace un año que fui detenido, y fue algo muy que me afectó mucho a mí y a mi familia. Nos afectó mucho. Pasé por algo que yo pensé que nunca iba a pasar, que vivía mi vida aquí en Estados Unidos, pero ese día fui como siempre trabajábamos, nos poníamos en Home Depot, entré a Home Depot y con qué sorpresa me encuentro, los agentes de ICE estaban adentro de Home Depot, encubiertos, estaban encubiertos y empecé a hablar a mi esposa. Mi hijo estaba afuera también, mi hijo, y cuando él me dijo que era ICE los que estaban afuera llegando también, cuando a mí me detuvieron, me agarraron las manos allá adentro. Ellos andaban de civiles como comprando herramientas, eso, y me llegaron por detrás de sorpresa y me detuvieron. Y me sacaron afuera, y ya cuando me arrestaron, cuando me estaban subiendo arriba de la patrulla que ellos traían en el carro, me preguntaron que si tenía documentos y yo no les contesté nada. Me sacaron mi billetera y miraron mi ID, nomás se sonrieron y me dijeron súbete. Ese día pues me llevaron a un lugar por ahí a Santana. Estuvimos en Santana, ahí estuve un día y medio. Otro día me dijeron, vas a a una detención a Riverside, me parece. ¿Y cuál fue nuestra sorpresa? Que de Riverside nos llevaron a Phoenix. Estuvimos a Phoenix, Arizona. Ahí nos estaba esperando un transporte de ellos. De ellos éramos como unos 40. Éramos como unos 40 y nos fuimos. Y de ahí nos llevaron a Nuevo México, a un lugar de Nuevo México. De Nuevo México nos llevaron a otro lugar de Nuevo México. Y de ese lugar nos llevaron a Texas. A Texas, y ahí en Texas pues estuvimos ahí encerrados 3 semanas estuve ahí. Fue algo muy triste por todo lo que pasamos. Fueron como 20 horas por el camino y pues prácticamente sin ir al baño y nos daban agua y fue algo muy triste para mí, algo que yo no esperaba ni mi familia esperaba. Recuerdo que era el tiempo de las graduaciones, fue un día 9 que me agarraron a mí. Mi hija se iba a graduar, no quería graduarse porque somos muy llegados, somos una familia muy unidos y esto que estaba pasando fue algo inesperado, pero gracias al Señor. Miren, aquí estoy en este lugar. De ahí, de Texas, nos pasaron otra vez a Nuevo México. Ahí estuve encerrado como un mes más y esperando ahí esperando una corte a ver el juez. Y miramos el juez y fui, me dieron mi fianza, pagué una fianza y ahorita pues gracias al Señor estoy en casa, tengo un año que no trabajo, no me dejó trabajar el juez, no sé porque no tengo un permiso de trabajo, no dijo no puedes trabajar y no trabajo, pero fue algo muy triste para mi familia, estamos batallando, estamos sufriendo, económicamente no tenemos, la única que trabaja es mi esposa. Y ustedes saben que aquí se necesita trabajar, pero no me dieron ese permiso para trabajar y estamos pasando en realidad la estamos pasando mal, pero algo tiene que salir.
Gracias, señor.
We have a few minutes for some questions. If you're asking questions to our anonymous witnesses, please provide them in Spanish.
So, Mr. Gavidia, you're an entrepreneur. In our hearing in Chicago, we heard from some entrepreneurs there who said that as a result of the raids that were happening there, they've lost as much as 40% of their business. Do you have any sense of the impact it's had on local Latino and immigrant and other communities that have been targeted by ICE?
Yeah, so for the last, I believe 8 months, I had a job for the first time in like 6-7 years. So I had to go get a job, man. I didn't feel comfortable enough to operate my place of business. What do I do for business? I sell vehicles. So I had a real sense of fear, I'll be honest with you. I was scared that I was gonna post a vehicle, a ICE agent was gonna respond, and then come to my dealer again and harass me again or harass one of my clients. That was my biggest fear. So I decided to go work for a company, go work as a job. For the first time in 7 years, I decided to step down from owning my own business because of fear of my own government. And that's why I'm so pissed off right now. That's why I'm disgusted. This is why I'm fighting back, because it's not right. You know, what happens to the American dream, you know? This is why our parents came over here. And who are we to destroy, or who are we to close the door right behind us? No, we can't. We must fight. We must stay strong because America has values. America has a constitutional right that protects us all. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Chair Gaza.
There's just a lot in my head to ask questions. I'm curious about that piece of that relationship between institutions, as you said, and the public trust. And I wanted to hear more about that because it sounds like you were deeply involved in the community in Alta Mesa? Altadena.
Yeah, so I kind of go back to the precedent that we're setting when 1 month we are helping with the fires, right? It's a fire-ravaged community, and then not even 2 months later, we're arresting those same people unjustly, unconstitutionally. What precedent does that set when the person that's handing you a hand for help is also the one that's arresting you? And then we wonder why people are scared to receive aid when it's offered, why people are untrusting of these institutions that ultimately are supposed to help. I think that in my experience, I saw that very closely, and it baffles me that we're still asking these questions.
Is there a way to refuse to go? I mean, is there, what are,
I had finals, so I did not go, but my friends did. No, and there's no way. I was not only asked to, but expected to violate the Constitution.
If I can follow up, Mr. Malitsis, while you may not have taken up the opportunity to go and serve with the others in that instance, certainly you are in touch with your colleagues. Do they share the sentiment you share about the inappropriate use of the Guard and how it's in conflict with your values and the Constitution? Is that a prevalent, or is it?
My unit, I would say, is predominantly Mexican because we're a San Diego-based unit. So, yeah. I would say, yeah, it was a pretty
But they
common-
still had to go and serve,
Correct.
subject to, if they didn't, what would be the consequence if they didn't?
Potentially being kicked out. That would be dishonorable. That
Dishonorable
follows you forever.
discharge.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Mr. Gavida, your business was located in Montebello or East LA?
It was in East LA, but I was fixing my vehicles in Montebello.
Okay.
That's what I was doing there.
Is that the neighborhood you grew up in?
I was born and raised in East Los Angeles, yes.
Okay. I was born in East LA too.
Yeah, nice.
What high school?
Garfield High School.
Okay. You know, in Los Angeles County, 50% of the population is like us, Latino. The majority of us were actually born here. And like you and I are speaking in English, the majority speak English and Spanish. I'm curious, in, you know, growing up in the same neighborhood as you, knowing that part of the world, I'm curious about how you think about, you know, our presence here as Latinos in this country. I was born here, and what message do you have for other Latinos who may have been born here, who may think about what's going on, not about them, because they were born here, they're U.S. citizens. Your case is very significant in that it really raises questions about that. So could you talk a little bit about that?
I mean, as far as that, I'm an American citizen. I'm a proud American. I even have a tattoo on my back that says Los Angeles, and above that it says "We the People." I truly believe I'm a proud American. So what does that go to tell us? You know, all these rights that we fought for back in the days. You know, obviously not us, but the people before us. Like, what are we doing to those rights? You know, like we have to cultivate this. We have to fight for this because apparently, you know, we're not done fighting for our rights. You know, we still got to fight. This is a fight every day that we must do. And if you're Latino, you're brown, you got to be careful because you can't just be walking down the streets like it's everyday business. No, it's not. It's not. We must stand together, and we must know if someone's in need, we must help. And we must, I think the most important thing out of everything is let's get educated, guys. Let's know our rights, because if we don't know our rights, they're gonna stomp us down, and they're gonna kick us out. And we can't allow that to happen. We must stay strong. That's my goal.
Thank you.
I think one thought we need to know our history, because this has happened multiple times in our history. In the 1930s, over 1 million Mexican and Mexican Americans were deported from this country. And then you had the guest worker program from Mexico, right, from 1942 to 1964, because this country needed labor. And then Operation Wetback in the 1950s, right? another million Mexican and Mexican Americans deported from the country. So I think knowing our history is something that's really critical here, and knowing that the fight for civil rights is never going to end. And when you take it away from one group, you're going to take it away from everyone eventually.
Exactly.
So I appreciate all of you for being here, and the folks that testified behind the curtain. It takes a lot of courage just to even say what you've said out loud. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you for being here and for everything that you are doing to fight for your communities.
Thank you so much. We're out of time. Thank you again to our panelists. Muchísimas gracias por su testimonio. We're going to take a very brief break. We'll be back in 4 minutes with our next panel. Thank you.
Yes.